Hello guys, so today I'm going to be overclocking a Raspberry Pi 4B 8GB version. As you can see, I strapped the Intermax 120mm fan onto it to keep it nice and cool. I'm using the CanaKit Raspberry 4. We'll see how it performs. Alright, well my capture card is not working, so I'm going to have to do this by hand, but we're just going to look at the V3D. And we're gonna check the voltage as well. Here, see what we got here. So 0.86 volts, 500 megahertz on the GPU. I can't check the GPU clock for some reason, so that's why I use the V3D. Now to get a baseline, we're gonna run a sysbench, do 10,000 primes. We're gonna have to do it a few times just because there's a lot of variation. So I ran sysbench 7 times to get the baseline, and we got 23.48 seconds on average at 39C. And now we're getting a baseline for our video. As you can see, we already dropped to 823 frames, and this is at 1080p 60. And we're slammed at the max GPU frequency. CPU's basically at full strength just for the one video. So yeah, 1080p 60 is not very good performance right now. So see if overclocking can fix that. Now we're running a Pokemon Black 2 on the Desmume emulator. As you can see, we're getting 18 FPS, very low, very poor performance. And it'll improve slightly here, but not by much. Yeah, 27 FPS. Yeah. So now we're gonna overclock it. I know mine is stable with this overvoltage and ARM frequency of 2.3 GHz basically, and 900 GPU. So we're gonna just reapply that and then see the difference, see how much of a difference it makes. Alright, so before we had about 23-ish seconds for the sysbench, and now we average 15.26 seconds, which is a massive improvement with at 2.3 gigahertz. As you can see here, steady state is around 60 or 61 degrees, much hotter than it was before at 39C before. You can see that the GPU is at 900, and we're at 1.085 volts now, so much higher voltage as well. So video performance is definitely a lot smoother now, but still dropping a lot of frames randomly. So it's still not amazing at 1080p 60, and again, just the GPU at 900 megahertz, stable. I already stress tested it for quite a while with various things. CPU usage is actually lower than it was before. Before it was almost at 100%, over the 90%, so now it's actually dropped to 80 now that the CPU is at a higher clock. So presumably that means we're not CPU bound in this anymore. Maybe. As for our game, we've increased to 27 from 18 before, or 17 before, or roughly about. So quite a big jump in performance. And here doesn't seem to be as big of a change, because I believe it was 27 or 28 before, but now it's up to 40. So now I'm gonna push it higher. We're already at overvoltage 9, which is beyond the warranty. So we're gonna push it to 1000, and I know it doesn't hit, it's not stable at 950 at 9, so I'm gonna have to boost it up to 11, see if that works. If not, then I'll mess with the computer. Alright, let's Restart. Alright, so I couldn't get the GPU to 1,000 no matter what I tried. In fact, I couldn't even get it to 950 really. And I corrupted the OS in the process, so I had to reinstall it. But now we're doing the CPU. Right now I'm running 2,340 megahertz at 10 over voltage. Core voltage is at 1.1 right there. And we're still at 900 megahertz on the GPU, and our suspension times are going down to 15 seconds. Hasn't crashed yet, so we're gonna keep pushing. All right, so now we're running 2.39 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz. The reason I don't bring it to 2.4 exactly is because Conky rounds it up for some reason to the next 100. So that way Conky will be closer to being accurate. So sorry for the focus. So now I'm gonna run Sysbench again, do some stress tests, see how it works. Let's see. So at 2.4 gigahertz we average 14.67 on Sysbench for 10,000 primes. Not too shabby. I'm just gonna keep pushing before we do the other benchmarks. So unfortunately, 2.39 gigahertz wasn't stable. It's stable enough for short-term bursts, but anything longer than like a few seconds will not last. Cause the problem is that apparently overvoltage only allows you to input a maximum of 10, it seems, which corresponds to about 1.1 volts. If this command line is to be believed. So unfortunately, that limits the voltage I can pump into the CPU, which means I can't overclock it any further than 2.39, or unstable, or 2.29, probably 2.34 stable. But so I'm just gonna roll it back to 2.29 because of Conky. Like I said, I don't want it to look higher than it actually is, but oh well. So